Hi guys, welcome to Animation for Fun live stream. My name's Frank Summers. We're going to continue doing some traditional animation with this wizard. If you're watching the recording of this, I thank you for hanging out. Let's switch on into Harmony and get going. Oh, first I'd like to start some music. We'll do Metalhead from the 32X. Pretty good. Heavy on the FM synth. So of course if the audio is wrong or messed up or anything like that, please let me know. Pretty sure my audio is looking okay. So let's do this. Actually, do some tie down here. Trying to avoid some tangents here. Keep these fingers a little more knobby. Hey Alvaro. Alvaro? How are you? How you doing, man? How's my audio? Does it sound okay? Excuse me. I think the trees in my neighborhood are trying to kill me. Gagging and wheezing for the past 2 weeks. No relief. The pollen is really thick on my car. See if we can get this hand. Fine. Audio is good. Thank you. Good to hear. How you doing tonight? Okay. Yeah, shoot. What kind of questions do you have? What kind of questions do you have, Alvaro? I will try and answer them to the best of my ability. I think I have some extraneous keys. This is my first initial thumbnails, but I feel like I got some extraneous stuff in here. I like to suppose it might be a bit much. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's extraneous. I feel like I need to get rid of it. Or let's see. And this maybe, so let's just scribble on top of this a bit more. Excuse me. If he juts over here a bit more. So now I'm just kind of scribbling again. And then we jut a bit more like this. Let me try that. It's an experiment. It's a little bit more, there's more play going on there at least, right? So we got something. What did I expose this for? 8. It's exposed also for that? It's not true. What is this one? This one's for 4. Yeah, just ask me whatever question you have about it, and I can try my best to answer. So let's let's see. Let's see if we can work that drawing in there. Every time I try to export a movie, it exports with black background, as if it is not exporting the alpha channel. Well, I'm simply assuming that when you're exporting, you have a background in there. Am I correct? Do you have a background in there? Like some sort of... I'm going to guess this is what you're doing. I'm going to hide my guy for a second here. And I'm even going to hide my color card. So I'm assuming what you're doing is you're making a new layer and you're calling it background. Okay, I spelled it wrong. And I'm assuming that you're going to, I don't know what, probably can't see that. Let me get a color you can see. I'm going to use, I'm going to use something that's not as obnoxious. I'll just use black. Like here's your background. Hold on, let me turn my quiet hours on. I'm assuming you're drawing a background, most likely in Harmony, and here's a house, right? Yay, and here's a tree, right? Whatever, dude. I don't know what you have going on. Are you doing something along this? And I'm assuming you have a background with some lines and you're drawing, here's a pretty little cloud and here's a sun, right? And then you're exporting this, am I correct? If that is the case, if you're exporting this, so whatever the camera sees, whatever's gray here, whatever you see that's gray, it will interpret as alpha. So what you need to do, because there's nothing there, there's literally nothing, there's the outline that's defining the house and our tree and our cloud and stuff like that, but there's nothing else here. So anything that's gray in our camera view will be exported as alpha. So in order to, you're not using a background, well if you're not using a background you need to put something back there. You need to put some sort of visual information for Harmony to say, hey, guess what, this is not alpha. So even if you just did follow my example I just drew here, I just drew this background on a layer, I just called it background. What you need to do is put something, either you can do one of two things. You can either just color in your background, make a big fat brush. I'm going to use draw behind. Which one is it? Draw behind? There it is. I'm going to, yeah, I'll draw behind. So here, you know, pretend I'm coloring my background. There's that. And here's my red house. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Now, if I exported this, all this information now, the sky, the tree, or let me just draw color, pretend this is green. Pretend. Okay? Oh, I actually do have green. So if I exported this, the house, the tree, the ground, they would have their color, but the rest of it would not be. You would be able to see, quote unquote, see through the cloud, because it's interpreting this as alpha. So in order to solve this, you could either continue coloring your background like I just pointed out, or you can add something called a color card by going to this little plus guy down here and just selecting color card. Make sure nothing is selected in your timeline, because then it, by default it parents it to the layer that you're selected. So just deselect everything, hit the plus sign, hit color card, and now you can see those little boxes back there. That's just telling us that we're selecting the color card. The color card really, it just goes on forever. There's no borders to it. It is simply doing exactly... now when I render this out, it will render out white back here. If I double click the color card, it pulls up the layer properties of it. We can change to whatever we want it to be. We can even change the alpha if we wished, which could be handy for other things. So this is similar to a solid in After Effects if you use After Effects, albeit not as handy as a solid as After Effects could be. I hope I answered your question. Kind of definitely went off on a bit of a tangent there, but that's most likely what you were doing. Let me get rid of this stuff. Put my color card back. I have a slightly off white color card, otherwise I start going blind after a while. Pardon me. Make a dinosaur step on the house. Yeah, make a dinosaur step on the house. I might. Right now I'm animating this wizard. I've been working on it for a couple weeks now. Ice Cream Hero. What's going on, dude? I might make a dinosaur step on a house. So let's get back to our. Let's get back to this. So I'm changing my pose here. Let's make sure our chest is getting a bit thick. Let's thin it out a little bit. Our guy is kind of wiry, and he's leading up this. I kind of like this. And I think what's important too is that this arm, our screen right arm, kind of leads the way. So I'm going to raise this a little higher than when I have it in my thumbnail. And I kind of like these fingers, kind of. Something along those lines. And we can have a little bit of perspective on our staff. And here's his cranium. Just have some drag going on with the hat. So let's get that in there. And maybe his head's still kind of down, so our cranium is around here someplace. We have an overlap going on here, and here's the chin. And our beard is kind of pulling. Some of these lines are searching lines, and by searching lines I mean I'm trying to find the shape. Yeah, give that a try, Alvaro. I'm pretty sure that's what the deal is. How you doing, ice cream sandwich? How are you? Ice cream sandwich, ice cream hero. I mean, I love ice cream sandwiches, and I mean, who doesn't? Unfortunately, we have some Neapolitan flavored in the freezer, which is certainly not my favorite. I don't know why. Nice bend on the hat here. Maybe the sleeve is kind of kicking it a little bit. It's kind of fun. And let's make sure we have, here's our belt. And you know, our bag is pulling a little bit here, like this. And let's try to fix the grouping here a little bit. And by grouping, I mean just where the objects are overlapping each other. Elbow. And we have this in perspective. This is the arc of this will shoot down like that. Nice to meet you too, man. I do love ice cream sandwiches. I'm a sucker for them. My son loves them too. He just destroys them. But I'm trying to nail down what's going on here with his hand here. So. Nice drag on this sleeve here. Even exaggerated a bit. Exaggerate this fingertip just a tad. And keep that streamlined. Let's clean this up a little bit. Excuse me. Let's see if we can't get into this hand a bit better over here. Oh, you know what I'm doing? Turn that off. I had the draw behind still on, so it's not getting the desired result. I think this hand has become a bit too blocky. So. This is for a project for myself. This is for me. I'm just doing this guy for fun. I don't get to do as much traditional animation as I once used to, so for work, so I try and get in as much as I can. curved. Thank you, Alvaro. Yeah, the X sheet's a lot of fun, man. As I always say during my, to anybody who asks, the reason I use the X sheet, more particularly when I'm using traditional animation, or when I'm traditionally animating, is because, unlike when I'm dealing with like keyframes, for example, these. Oops, I lost my drawing. Hold on. So if I hit F6. You'll see a little square pop down there. That's a position, scale, rotation keyframe. Like whenever I'm puppet animation, I'm not as concerned with drawing numbers. And when I'm doing traditional animation, I am very concerned about drawing numbers. I want to know how they relate to each other. And so that is why I like using the X sheet. I think I have a... I don't recall if I have a tutorial on them or not on my YouTube channel there. But I know I talk a little bit about the drawing view and how you can use the X sheet to send things to the quote-unquote what do they call it now? The desk. It used to be called yeah, they call it sending drawings to the desk. So I can individually pull drawings out of my stack and temporarily rearrange them so that I can shift them around using something called shift and trace. Now that I do have a tutorial on, and that one is awesome. I do love shift and trace, where I can go into my drawing view, I can send it to the desk, and you can see a little sidebar popped up over here. And if I turn shift and trace on, you'll see the peg bar showed up, and if I enable the tool, I can temporarily move him around. This is not putting keyframes down. I can rotate him, or scale him, and when I step back out to the camera, none of those transformations are taking place. Very handy. Love it. Oh, what I do. Oh, onion skin's on, that's why. Brush. So I have a little kink in his hat here I'm trying to keep in. Push these a bit more. A little more like this. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a hint of his cheeks showing in here. Curve. So put a slight point right there. Maybe. Hey, Pika Petey, how are you, dude? Oh, you're ending your stream? Thanks, man. How you been? Good to see you. How'd your stream go tonight? Hey guys, what's happening everybody? How you guys doing here? Thank you for showing up, I appreciate it, thank you. Just doing some traditional animation of a wizard here. For anybody who's just showing up. So we just have some rough keys in here, and we're moving along. He's gonna go up and cast the spell. Not quite sure what he's casting yet. I don't really think it matters. But we have a bunch of just rough sketches that I did before, and this is my blueprint. And right now I'm just going through and refining what I have, pushing some of the poses, and changing some things. Some of the stuff I was not happy with. So thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. How's everybody doing? Thank you. Yeah, get ready for spam. Spam a lot. Jesse hasn't been streaming very much, huh? I try to keep an eye out for him in the mornings when I'm around, but I think he's on hiatus, huh? He's just, I mean, the guy streams like crazy. I mean, he streams at 5 a.m. his time, and like I mean, it has to weigh on somebody after a while. Pardon me. I'm going to fix this hat a little bit here. I have a little bit of a bend in the brim that I kind of like. It's like a kind of a character type thing of the hat. I probably could have it peeking out from the back too. I think the beard might need to be pulling back too, but the idea was that the wind was kind of blowing. So that's going to be a challenge for this. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So that's the idea anyway. And make sure we save, because that's kind of important. Also notice this staff looked like it shrunk a little bit. Now this is definitely in perspective here as it rotates down towards the camera like that. But I do believe it needs to be a little longer than when I have it here in this image, so we can go through and fix that as well. Nothing is in stone, so we can change things as needed. And it's also worth noting that it is moving in perspective here as well. So it's okay that maybe it's a little shorter. But I think what might be helpful is if we round these edges off a little bit more to help show the foreshortening of the staff as it moves off into perspective. And maybe we can nest this ball, the sphere that sits on top of it, a little more inside, just to help show the foreshortening. So let's see what else we can get in here. So we have a couple keys in here that I'm not really thrilled with, and one of them I altered right now. And so let's see if we can go with this one. Let's make a new drawing here. And we're going to reverse our curve here. Go like this, if you can see that. And maybe his head is even pitched down even further, if you can see that in the thumbnail. So we're like basically looking on the top of his head, top of his cranium. Let's get a nice arc here in his back. So what's kind of nice is this arm, the screen right arm, is leading the charge, and all of a sudden it reverses and kind of kicks down like this. So that's kind of fun. Let's try and just get the top of his cranium in here. And maybe that shoulder needs to dip just a tad more, I think. Yeah, so now he's leading with this elbow up here like so. And we have the top of his head. And his chin is tucked in. And we can't even see this part, but I want to get it in there anyway so that I have an idea of where his anatomy is. This needs to come down more. I thank everybody for joining me from Pika's PD stream. Thank you guys for coming over. Alright, let's see if we can get that hat kind of really obscuring the majority of his mass. Beard. Let's see if we can get the beard really kind of blowing now. Let's see, because my idea was the wind was starting to blow. So let's see if we can introduce that concept here in this frame. Where like his sleeves are blowing, so we have some direction. There's some wind blowing in this direction. Which I can't say I've ever animated anything like that before, so it's a bit of a challenge. So that's one of the things I'm challenging myself on this one is like a performance of wind against cloth. So that's one of my goals here for this. This hand is a bit long here. Maybe this hand can open up a little bit, or got an idea. Maybe a bit more of a profile in the hand. So like that. Something like that. Live streams are great learning places for animation. I mean, I try to explain as I go along. I try to stream every Monday night. And I have a Wednesday lunch live sketch I do during my lunch break. I'm just sketching. I'm not animating on Wednesdays. And it's like a timed thing. It's like you know, you try to get as much as you can get done in 25 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. So like they're a bit of a mixed bag. Sometimes they're more successful than, or sometimes they're less successful. Let's get that hat kind of going in with the breeze now. The wind is kicking. this hat. All the chats are combined. Monochrome moose. You know, I stream on YouTube and I also stream on Twitch. So I'm streaming in both places at the same time right now. I use XSplit. I guess that's plenty. I experimented with Picarto for a little while, and I don't know. I mean, I guess it's fine. I don't have anything negative to say about it. This arm's way too long. Let me find. let's figure this arm out first here. I mean, it was fine. You know, I just have so much time. I only have so much time, really, I feel like, to devote to any one particular thing. So, I have heard of Restream before. Oh, hey, Pillowhead. How's it going, dude? Pillowhead showed up. How's it going, dude? How's it going, duder? Alright, what's important here is this curve, this arc going like this. Because this drawing, the arc is going like this. So then we have a reverse, and then we finally go into this curve. So it gives us a little bit of play going back and forth. Let's see if we can get into here and kind of nail some of this stuff. Oh, hold on, saving. Excuse me. You gotta go pick up your cousin? Yeah, I know, I gotta wake up. It's 10:20. I'm assuming you're on this coast if it's 10:25. I'm in the East Coast. So yes, my bedtime is very early. I only stream for maybe about an hour and a half, so I'm probably good for another 20 minutes or so. Let's start tying some of this down. Well, thanks for stopping by, Monochrome Moose. You have a good one. I'm trying to keep these fingers kind of like chunky. So like one of the things I'm thinking about with this character is that, like, even though he's a wizard and he's very thin and frail, I feel like he's like still on the road, right? He's like adventuring and I don't know, climbing mount, whatever, you know. So like he's kind of naughty, you know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm picturing him. So like he's, you know, he wouldn't be able to swing a battle axe, but you know, he's got some, he's got a little bit of muscle to him, I suppose. So let's kick this middle finger out a little bit. And maybe group the ring next to it. And the pinky can be splayed out like that. You made a new icon, very good. It's a pillow and it's a head. Ta-da! Anyone see that new Tom and Jerry? the new Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka. Oh god, I don't know what they were thinking on that one. I love me some Tom and Jerry. It's one of my all-time favorite stuff from when I was a kid. It's just a weird mishmash, that's for sure. You know, I'm glad people were. It gave people a job. You know, it's good. It's just a weird. It's a weird concept. That's all I gotta say. All right, so now I gotta track the ball here to around here someplace, and it's probably gotta be a little bigger in perspective than what I initially put. So something like that. And we're in perspective. Go. So there we are. A bit bigger. Probably could taper a bit more into the hand. I'm not really thrilled with this hand. I don't like it. I'm gonna let it go for now. My wife and I just watched the second episode of Silicon Valley. It's so good. I don't know if anybody watches that one. It's awesome. Hello, Ginger. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Ginger. So let's get the top of that hat. So a little bend in the hat there. And again, our wind is blowing. Well, this will be an interesting challenge for me. We'll see if I can pull this off. I don't like that. Don't like this corner, this intersection. It's not favorable. So let's see if we can do this. Raise the arm just a tad. Clean this up a little bit. Oh, animation. In a world of animation, everything is awesome. I guess that's true. Everything is awesome. I'm looking at his hat. It's too small here. Let's use our shift and trace. And we need a little more onion skin. Yeah. And let's just see. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm wildly off with the hat. Oh yes. I'm close with the thickness of the cone, so to speak, but the brim is nowhere near where it should be. Let me hop over into the camera really quickly and let's hide some of this nonsense for a hot second. Yeah. Oh yes. This drawing here is wildly off. Look how thin it is. So we need to enlarge that guy. We just need to make that bigger. So let's see how we can kind of yeah, Fat Kid, interesting how the artist is always more judgmental on their work than the audience. Well, you know, I thought about that. That's really funny you mentioned that, because I was thinking about that the other day, and I had a premonition. You would come in my room, my chat room, and you would ask me that question. No, you know, the reason being is the guy who's, the person who's doing it, the person who's working, has this idea in their head, right? And you as an audience person watching, someone who's watching someone work, or even a movie or whatever, take your pick, you know, they don't have any preconceived notions of what something should be, but the guy who's drawing it does. And when it's not matching up to the image in your head, that's, well, one of two things happen. Either the artist gets frustrated and walks away and calls it a day, or he buckles down, and or she buckles down and gets to it. See, I don't like this line right here either, and that's kind of what makes or break it sometimes. It's kind of what separates the pros from the novices, you know, when someone can see the mistake in their own work and then course correct. That's kind of, that's what separates, that's what being a professional is about. At least I think it is. I don't know, in my opinion. And also just being able to grow. And I'm not always good at that. I'm not always good at, you know. Let me pull this onion skin down now. Because it's kind of a hard thing. It's a hard thing to look in the mirror, you know what I mean? And you see this image that, looking back at you, that you're not exactly thrilled with, or you thought it was something else, and then it's not. I just realized the music is over. I stopped. I got kind of lost in my work. There we go. And we probably should have the hint of these this mustache pieces moving underneath there, just so our eye has something to track. And again, our wind is blowing, it's picking up our drapery, and doing that. Sure, I mean, Fat Kid, one of the things I can suggest to you, I mean, it's always great to hear feedback from your friends and they go, wow, it's amazing, but what you want to do is seek out feedback in a positive way, criticisms of your work in a positive manner. You know, what is not working, why is it not working? You know, your friends and your mom are always going to say, oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen. I mean, unless, of course, it really sucks. And then they're just going to say, yeah, man, that's great. And they'll pat you on the head. But if you want to really grow, you want to get out there. And that, for me, that was one of the big things about school. I mean, I know going to college for some people is not always the answer. But for me, it was being judged by my peers. Was huge learning. I mean, I'm talking almost 15 years ago, 17 years ago now, when I was last in school. But, you know, that was instrumental to me and helped me build good work ethic and good work habits that I think to this day I still rely on. I don't consider myself a very naturally talented draftsman or animator by any stretch of the imagination, but what I do have is work ethic. Your grandma's your harshest critic. Yeah, I mean, you know. So for this drawing, let's put another one down in here. He's starting to straighten up. Whew, this is looking like a bit of a mess. Kind of want to, let's do this. Let's just grab these 3 drawings and send them over to the drawing board. There we go. And I can use my light table, I believe. Yes, that's when I love Harmony. It's still kind of showing me a little too much. Oh, I don't see that pillow head. So I probably got like another 3, couple minutes left in me. I'm an old man now. I need my rest. Make sure we're getting these volumes correct. So his head is cranium, something like that. So let's get the spacing in here correct. You know, here's our arc of our head, and here's the cranium for this drawing. I'm pretty close to my original thumbnail. I'm toggling my thumbnail on and off. And let's get a bit more of that torso in there, that rib cage. And he's raising that, the arc of this. So let's get rid of this. The arc of this thing, this staff, around here somewhere. Here's our fist. That wind is still kicking. Maybe let's give a little bit of a billow. A little bit of a billow on the sleeves. You're good at emotion. You mean in terms of what? I'm sorry. Experience, or you're good at emotion and personality? Do you mean in your work? Or do you mean yourself? I am not very good at either of those. Maybe this hand is delaying a little bit, doing something like this. Probably going to get a little bit of his face coming in here, so we got to make sure we get this caricature in there. Let's get that sharp nose, and let's get that jawline in there. And we're still kind of looking down. He still has his head rotated down, and our hat maybe is starting to come up. And maybe the hat's kicking up a little bit. And that beard might be whipping like this. Maybe now we're getting a bit of the eyes looking up. Bit of his ear. That nose is not properly placed. Eyes can come together a bit more. And they're squished a bit. This right here is important, this cheekbone. Going down into the mustache. Oh! Oops. was weird. Oh, facial expression. Sorry, yes. You mean in your work? Yes. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. One thing I try to do a lot is to draw from life. I try to bring my sketchbook and just sketch people as they're walking around with ink. That's a great habit. How long did it take you to find, Fat Kid says, how long did it take you to find your style of art? I know it can take a long time for some people. You know, the term style is used, you know, you find it simply from working. It changes, I can tell you that, you know, and I think it should always change because you change. And your likes and your dislikes change. There are certainly things that I do repeatedly that I wish I didn't do over and over again. And like that's just habit, and some of that's like considered bad habit. But there's certainly things I've been doing like my whole artistic journey, if you will. Let's get the bit of that lip in there. That finger can bend a little bit. These fingers can be a little straighter. I don't know. Maybe this pinky can be sticking out. These weird hands. Yeah, I mean, style is a tough question to ask. You know, that's the first thing you should. You know, I don't know your age or how old you are, if you're in school or whatever. But you know, a lot of younger people are like, "Oh, I need to develop my style. I need to develop my style." And I remember that question being asked a lot too when I was in college. But like that's not really what you should be worried about. I think at that time in your life, you should be thinking about the fundamentals. And it kind of goes back almost to this beard needs to be fixed. What I was just saying before about drawing people from life. Because what it does is just, when you draw from life, when you draw people, when you draw from a model, or if you draw from, you're just waiting at the store, or if you're at a coffee shop, when you're drawing from life, you're filling your head with just information. And you're sort of like filling this library in your head that you pull from over and over again. And I know a lot of people want to just draw their favorite cartoons or their favorite characters or their favorite anime characters, and that really is kind of a dangerous thing to settle into. And I didn't understand it myself. I remember very vividly my professors telling me not to do that, don't draw that, it's the worst thing you can do, and I understand now why. Because what you're doing is you're kind of robbing yourself from really developing your eye and really developing your own style. And when you're just drawing your favorite cartoon characters, your favorite anime characters, you're kind of like walking down someone else's footsteps. And there's certainly nothing wrong with it. I mean, I do it all the time. I love drawing my favorite characters for fun. But when you're learning, when you're really learning, when I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to do some drawings to really try and push my technical ability. I'm trying to draw from life. I'm trying to fill my head with some sort of piece of information that wasn't there. Like my new thing now is birds. I'm trying to understand bird anatomy. I'm just kind of fascinated by bird anatomy. I think it's cool looking, and like I just don't know it enough. And so you can't draw something you don't know. So I've been trying to study birds, and I just draw anatomical type things like their skeletons. Look up on YouTube. And this is stuff I don't show anybody. It just sits in my sketchbook, and it's just for me. It's just for me to put into my head. Just this piece of information. I don't know if that answers your question. I don't like that. I don't like that. This is not good. Well, you know, as you're hanging out with me here, I hope you guys are drawing yourselves. Working on your own thing, chilling out. You know, one website, one YouTube channel I can really recommend is Croquis Cafe, C-R-O-Q-U-I-S, Croquis, it's French, Cafe. It requires a little bit of maturity because there's nude models, but they pose for you, they change their poses. Really handy, super good, super good. It is not a replacement for a live model. But, you know, because I'm getting older now, it's hard for me to find time to go to the to go see a live model. In a pinch, Croquis Cafe has been pretty handy. So I really recommend checking them out. Really good for gestural drawings, for really quickly analyzing a figure. I don't like the angle on this. How do you spell it again? Oh, C-R-O-Q-U-I-S, Croquis, C-A-F-E, Croquis Cafe. Again, it requires a little bit of maturity there for my viewers. But excellent learning resource on YouTube. I actually throw him, I throw Larry Withers a few bucks every month. Because I think he provides a really good service. Alright, I need to get that mouth in there. I'm not quite sure. Alright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and nail this drawing down a bit more, and then I'm probably going to end my stream. Croquis Cafe, C-R-O-Q-U-I-S, I believe is how you spell it. Let me find it. Let me see. I have it in here. Let me see. Yeah, C-R-O-Q-U-I-S-C-A-F-E. Croquis Cafe. There's naked people here, but these are excellent. Oh, these are new. These are good. They're all really good. They all time it out for you, and they play smooth jazz. Oh, there's H3. Smooth jazz for your listening pleasure. I'll try and finish this drawing up, and then I'm going to wrap it up, I think, guys, for tonight. I'm looking for how to draw, and someone suggested figure drawing, can't afford them. Yeah, figure drawing can be pretty expensive. I mean, like $10 a session is generally considered not a bad rate. $10 a night. I used to go when I lived in the Philly area. I would go every night into not every night, every Wednesday into Philly and draw. It's like $10. But near me, where I live now in North Jersey, the prices are a little $35 a session, which is a little crazy. But if you live in New York City, or you're near New York City, there's some options that are back in the $10 range. You know, $10 is what you should expect to pay for. Well, $200 if you're talking about Papa Bless. Papa Bless. $200, are you talking for like a whole class? I'm generally talking about like an open studio where you can just show up. They have a time. It's from 6 to 7 or whatever, 6 to 9 o'clock at night or whatever you have, what have you, and you just pay for that particular session. But $200 doesn't even sound that bad to me for a life drawing class. I had several really good life drawing teachers, and I learned a lot from them. And I do miss being able to draw from the studio as much as I used to. Having that understanding of anatomy goes a long way. Yeah, Pillowhead, I mean, it depends on what part of the country you're living in. I'm also assuming you are in the United States. You may not be. And if that's the case, I apologize for making that assumption. But any major metropolitan area probably should have it near. Some figure drawing classes. SC South Carolina. So are you near like Savannah? Where? Papa Bless. Oh god. So dank. Fix this. And let's fix this eye line a little bit. Let's get these eyes nested in here a bit better. Thin my brush out a bit. Ice Cream Hero asks if the anatomy and figure drawing books are a good supplement. Of course, yeah, I can recommend. It's a little expensive. Where I have it here, but where is it? Hold on. Movement and Form from Samantha Youssef. It's all about the first 30 seconds of your drawing. The entire book is all about 30 seconds. She's a Samantha is a ex-Disney animator, and she now goes around to studios teaching this course, this stuff to other animators, and she really breaks it down in a really simple way. All about gesture, that book is, and it's really great. So I highly recommend that one. Yeah, I mean, they certainly help, that's for sure. Having some sort of material is great. I mean, that's just the thing. If you're going to an open studio, no one's really going to teach you anything. It's just an open studio. Anyone can go to it. But if you're taking a class, you know, generally it's expected the teacher will teach you. This part's fun. I like doing this kind of stuff. Getting these eyes to sit in that socket. And that pronounced cheekbone. And this is incorrect. Let's fix that line. There we go. Helping define his cheeks. Nice curve there. The idea of a creepy mouth in there. I'm a senior taking advanced animation classes, and it seems like every animation takes longer than the last. You know, Fat Kid, the only thing I can say about that is that maybe your eye is developing, and so like what you're doing is you're kind of like you're biting off bigger and bigger projects for yourself, if this is what you're referring to, or if you're referring to your assignments. So maybe what's happening is your eye is developing and you're seeing your mistakes and you're spending more time correcting them. I mean, I can tell you right now, see this drawing right here, this particular one that I finally settled on, and I'm going to fix this arm a little bit more. This drawing, I think I drew this 4 or 5 times, and each time I drew it, it got stronger and stronger, and it finally got to the point where I was like, okay, this is my wizard, this is what I want him to look like, and this was the pose I was trying to find. So I mean, I redid this drawing 4 or 5 times. My point being is that sometimes you just have to throw things out. So a lot of times when you're working, and as you develop your eye and you begin to see things not going as they expect, you start throwing drawings out, and so therefore your assignments are quote-unquote taking longer. So and it's animation, so by default everything takes long. Everything takes forever. Yeah, you used to watch animation frame by frames on a DVD. I used to do it with a VHS tape when I was a kid. I mean, I'm kind of dating myself a little bit there, but I mean, what kids have today, I mean, I would have died for. I mean, I remember being so hungry to be able to animate as a kid, as like a high schooler. I wanted to do it so bad, and like the technology just wasn't there, just was not there, didn't exist. Computers didn't really exist like they do today. I'm talking the late 80s, early 90s. And like I would have went bonkers to have like a, you know, like a tablet, like a bamboo tablet. And even like a, you know, I know Harmony's expensive, but there's a million cheaper alternatives out there for free just to be able to do animation on. I mean, I would have been beside myself. You kids. You kids don't know how good you have it these days. I had to punch paper, and it never worked because I didn't have a hole punch. I was faking my punched paper with a loose leaf, trying to come up with ways to make pegs. None of which worked. Alright, we're getting close to the end of the stream, I think, here, guys. I'm going to finish this drawing up. And I'm going to get ready for bed. Moho Pro 12. Is that good for this kind of stuff? Notorious Wolf asks. I mean, I have never used Moho. It's Clip Studio, I think, right? They changed the name of it. I have a version of that on my Surface. Actually, let me check my Surface. What do I have here? What do I have on this? I think it's Clip Studio. I have Clip Studio on my Surface. I'm not quite sure if that's the exact same thing or not. But listen, if you have a timeline in it and you're able to draw on it, yeah, you can do this. Sure. I mean, that's why we used Flash for all those years. Or I used Flash for all those years. It had a timeline, and I was able to kind of rudimentarily draw in it. And I hated it. I hated Flash. I had a love-hate relationship with Flash. I'll be working back in it again later this week. I have some freelance in it. Alright, there we go. Let's roll these couple drawings here. Let's get them out of the desk. There we go. He's coming along. Some of this he's looking a little bit like this one here I'm not really thrilled with. But we're going to continue to refine this as we move along. Just getting from pointing pose from Team Rocket. Oh, sorry, I moved it back. Yep, I hear you. I hear you. Alright guys, listen, everybody who joined me from Pikapedia stream, I really appreciate you showing up. That meant a lot to me. I hope everybody had a good time. I need to go to bed. Like I said, I'm an old man now. So what I'm going to do is, I do this live stream where we do traditional animation every Monday at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for about an hour. Tonight was about an hour and a half. And on Wednesdays I do another live stream from just during my lunch break. I just do a sketch for 25 minutes. It's like a timed thing. And I have plenty of other things on my YouTube channel. I have plenty of Harmony tutorials as well as a new short, C versus T. Please check it out. And if you are watching the recording this, you should see in front of you, you should anyway, see some buttons to subscribe and follow me on all my social links, Twitter, Tumblr, all that stuff. Thanks guys for hanging out with me. Thanks for hanging out with me and take care. Have a good one.